Exclusive contract from Feilu Novel Network Novel. Fengshen. My wife Yaoji, giving birth to 7 bear children traveling through the early stages of divine enfeoffment, Yang Chen found a beautiful wife and gave birth to 7 bear children. In order to deal with this bear child, Yang Chen put a lot of effort into it. Yang Jiao. No gods, no Buddhas, no demons. I am a god, a Buddha, and a demon. Yang Jian. With my feet on the earth, I shake the heavens and the earth. I fly alone in the sky, wandering on the land. Yang Mochou. The pinnacle of immortality, proud of the world, with me Mochou, there is heaven. Yang Buhui. Who is calling invincible, and who dares to say unbeaten? One by one, the bear children made Yang Chen's head turn big. Until this day, with 100,000 heavenly soldiers and generals approaching, Yang Chen finally realized that he had traveled to a world of chaos. And his wife was actually Yao Ji, the younger sister of Emperor Haotian that day. Where do you have any small cotton jackets? It's just anti-saint armor. Feilu Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. Chapter 1. Dad. Do we have another? You are listening at novelfull.audio. On Earth, on an unnamed mountain. There was a handsome and extremely handsome man with a worried expression in his eyes. If you look closely, you can still see a hint of joy in his eyes. This person's name is Yang Chen. He is the hunter on this unnamed mountain, not only handsome but also skilled in hunting. Especially the Yang family husband's life is as beautiful as a fairy, and the 6 little dolls in the family also descend to the mortal world like fairy children. May I ask who in the 8 villages knows? Yang Chen looked up at the sky and saw that there were no clouds for thousands of miles, and the sunlight was shining brightly. It was really good weather. But at this moment, he was somewhat worried in his heart. Today is the day when my wife Zhang Yaoer gave birth. For some unknown reason, Yang Chen felt a hint of unease in his heart. Looking at the wooden house on the side, Yang Chen frowned slightly. I hope my wife can be fine. When I lost my life on an expedition to Qingluan mountain in my past life, I woke up again and came to this world. With all his skills, he is also doing well here. 10 years ago, Yang Chen was rescuing an unconscious woman here, who was his current wife Zhang Yaoer. Over time, it is natural for the two to become married when they have feelings. Until today, there are already 6 children. While contemplating, I saw the sound of birds chirping in the mountains and forests, and a red bird and beast emitting a phoenix cry. At this moment, the sky seems to be dyed with a layer of auspicious glow. If ordinary people saw this scene, they would definitely be shocked, while Yang Chen was only slightly surprised. I breathed a sigh of relief in my heart, and now it seems that my wife is unharmed. When these children were born, there were always some anomalies that Yang Chen had become accustomed to. Not long after, the midwife walked out of the wooden house with a happy expression on her face. Among the swaddles she was holding in her hands, there was a baby crying. Hunter Yang, congratulations. Congratulations, it's Feng. Every child in your family is like a jade carving. Hunter Yang, you are truly a fortunate person. The midwife said happily. Saying it's Feng means giving birth to a daughter. Hey. This is already the 7th one. Yang Chen slowly exhaled a breath. Although it was a complaint, there was a hint of tenderness in the eyes. At this moment, there was no time to worry about anything else. He took the swaddle from the midwife's hand with both hands and carefully looked at his daughter. Although just born, but a pair of black eyes stared straight at Yang Chen, no longer crying, but dancing happily. Seeing his own daughter like this, Yang Chen's lips slightly raised. A few heads were also stretched out beside him, all looking curiously at the swaddles in Yang Chen's hands. Dad. Are we going to have another sister again? Daddy, Daddy. What's the name of my sister? Yang Chen looked aside with a somewhat helpless expression on his face. Beside him, at this moment, there were 5 little dolls carved in powder and jade, all looking at themselves with hopeful faces. You all have so many younger sisters. Yang Chen said helplessly and touched the heads of several people. Except for his eldest son Yang Jiao, the rest of his children are waiting here with him. At this moment, Yang Chen couldn't help but recall the scene when his own children were born. Boss Yang Jiao, at the time of birth, there seemed to be a dragon emerging from the sky, and the thunder in the sky kept exploding, which even startled me. My second son, Yang Jian. At birth, a purple aura lingered throughout the body, and there was a golden pattern on the forehead and forehead. Third, Yang Chen. At birth, lotus flowers bloomed in a 100-mile radius, and even ordinary plants grew several feet in length. Speaking of which, the names of these 3 children were all married by their own mothers. At that time, it surprised Yang Chen a bit, good guy, it's just like a mythological legend. Except for the eldest and second being boys, the others are all girls, which makes me quite happy. After all, these are all my intimate little cotton jackets. Lao Si, Yang Mochou at birth, 100 miles around, there grows worry-free grass, and the entire unnamed mountain is surrounded by fairy music, which only fades away after a few days. Lao Wu, Yang Tianyi on the day this girl was born, the sky turned purple, and the purple clouds in the sky were somewhat supernatural. Lao Lu, Yang Xiaoya at birth, it was rare to have any anomalies, but this girl's luck was surprisingly good, so good that even Yang Chen felt a bit outrageous. It feels like a daughter of fate. And now in my arms is my 7th son. Husband. At this moment, a call came from the nearby wooden house. Yang Chen hugged his swaddle tightly and entered, only to see his wife Zhang Yao's eyes complex. Seeing this situation, Yang Chen felt a thump in his heart and quickly walked forward. After so many years of marriage, Yang Chen was extremely familiar with every look and gesture of his wife. But the gaze at this moment made his heart tremble uncontrollably. Madam, what exactly happened? After saying these words, Yang Chen suddenly regained his senses and looked at his own wife, showing no signs of weakness after childbirth. And at this moment, Zhang Yao was shining brightly and dressed luxuriously. There seemed to be a faint fluorescence all around, surpassing the celestial beings, emitting a fairy-like aura from top to bottom. This. Yang Chen widened his eyes. Chapter 2. Princess Yaoji. We have received the order of the Heavenly Emperor. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. The person in front of me, is she really a woman who spends time with herself day and night? Yang Chen was about to speak. Suddenly, a thunderbolt fell from above the sky and struck straight at this unnamed mountain peak. The earth shook and the mountains shook for a moment, and this unnamed mountain seemed to be about to collapse. At the moment when this thunderbolt falls, in an instant, I saw the original clear sky disappear instantly, replaced by black clouds. Such a change in celestial phenomena is naturally eerie. Yang Chen frowned. Hunters who have been in this mountain for over a decade cannot be frightened by a thunderbolt. But the changes in the celestial phenomena at this moment are indeed somewhat strange. Dad. Except for Yang Jian who looked out curiously, Yang Chen and others held Yang Chen with some fear. Seeing such a change in the celestial phenomena, Zhang Yao's face turned pale. But there is still a hint of pain in my eyes. They're coming. Zhang Yao suddenly smiled bitterly, and at this moment, Yang Chen's eyes were full of reluctance. After giving birth to her 7th daughter, she had already anticipated this outcome, and at this moment, she still had some luck in her heart. At the time of previous production, we all need to use magic to suppress them, so that our children won't be too eye-catching. Nevertheless, each time it caused a significant anomaly. Fortunately, it did not attract the attention of the heavenly court. But this time, however, he accidentally leaked a trace of his qi, and he expected that his brother Haotian would never miss such an opportunity. I'm afraid in no time, there will be heavenly soldiers coming to capture me. They. Yang Chen was startled in his heart. At this moment, I was staring closely at my own wife, and for some reason, I couldn't stop feeling anxious. Boom! Another thunderbolt fell. At this moment, there was a roaring sound of waves coming from the sky, accompanied by a terrifying sense of oppression. I saw black clouds rolling over the sky. Above the black clouds stood black shadows, and at this moment, the sky and earth changed color. Princess Yaoji. We have been ordered by the Heavenly Emperor to escort you back to the Heavenly Court. A loud shout followed the thunderous sound. At this moment, above the sky, black clouds lingered around, and tens of thousands of heavenly soldiers and generals looked coldly towards the unnamed mountain peak. The immortal led by that holds a double hammer, its body is as broad as the Dharma phase of heaven and earth, with angry eyes wide open, and it is precisely the mythological giant spirit god. At this moment, the gaze of the giant spirit god was straight towards the small wooden house on the unnamed mountain peak. Faced with such a scene, any ordinary person must have a split heart and mind. Yang Chen didn't have time to think much, so he stepped out of the wooden house and looked at the giant spirit god above the sky that day. Don't touch my wife, you have the ability to come at me. Yang Chen shouted loudly, although he tried his best to roar, he was quickly lost in the rolling thunder. The difference between immortals and mortals is even better than heaven and earth. Husband. Yao Ji's eyes flashed with a hint of tenderness. Even if my husband is just an ordinary mortal and I am the younger sister of the Heavenly Emperor, how can I not fall in love with Yang Chen? Dad! Several voices shouted, it was Yang Chen's child, and the golden mark on Yang Jian's forehead emitted a faint light. The giant spirit god looked at him with a disdainful expression, just an ant, and one glance was enough to kill it 1,000 times. Even ordinary people dare to defile immortals. Damn it! The giant spirit god scolded, the sound exploded like thunder. At this moment, the entire unnamed mountain is slowly collapsing, slowly turning into dust and dispersing from the outside to the inside. Such great power is beyond the reach of mortals, this. Seeing the scene before him, Yang Chen widened his eyes. I have lived in this world for over a decade, and who would have thought that there would still be immortals like this? Heaven Yao Ji. I thought I had traveled back to ancient times, but now Yang Chen realized how outrageous his mistake was. But at this moment, the scene in front of him had a huge impact, and Yang Chen had to swallow his saliva with difficulty and look at his own wife. Yao Ji's figure drifted over, eyebrow to heart, eyes to each other, eyes filled with tenderness. Husband, I was originally the Haotian sister of the Heavenly Emperor of the Heavenly Court. It's okay to go here. Yao Ji trembled and spoke, although I know it's okay, but my husband is just an ordinary person, and for immortals like him, thousands of years are just a few days. But for Yang Chen, I'm afraid he doesn't even know how to reincarnate for hundreds of generations. Even if he could find it himself, would Yang Chen still be his own husband at that time? If we want to capture you, we must first step over my body. Yang Chen smiled bitterly, but his heart was firm. Regardless of Yao Ji's identity, she is her own mother. But facing the sky full of heavenly soldiers and giant spirits, he couldn't think of any way. The giant spirit god is a towering deity in the sky, while I am just a mortal. You dare to be reckless. The giant spirit saw this situation and his eyes flashed with anger. With a loud roar, those heavenly soldiers formed in formation and surrounded, only to see several chains in the sky attacking Yao Ji directly. Heavenly Lock. Yao Ji's eyes flashed with a hint of surprise. These chains contain the power of the heavenly rules, even the great Luo Golden Immortal cannot break free. As the lock struck that day, Yao Ji took out a jade pendant from her sleeve. As she crushed the jade pendant, among them, a mysterious light burst out, creating a teleportation array out of thin air. Above the sky, the giant spirit god widened his eyes and immediately guessed Yao Ji's plan, directly hitting the nameless mountain with a hammer. This hammer is bigger than the entire unnamed mountain, it's crushing directly. Chapter 3. Caring for daughter, father's love value +10. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Let's go. Yao Ji hurriedly exclaimed, her gaze swept over her husband and 6 children, and when she saw the swaddling clothes in Yang Chen's arms, a slight smile appeared on the corner of Yao Ji's mouth. Husband, let's call our last daughter, no regret. After Yao Ji finished speaking, she looked directly at the chains falling from the sky, her eyes filled with determination. Yao Ji, don't regret it. As the words fell, Yao Ji waved her hand with a spell and pushed Yang Chen and several children into the teleportation array. No. Yang Chen roared loudly, but under the influence of magic, I could only do my best to hold myself and Yao Ji's child. Seeing such a situation, a hint of anger flashed in the eyes of the giant spirit god, and the giant hammer in his hand directly turned this unnamed mountain peak into dust. Just an ordinary person, actually deluding to escape from their own hands. Don't think of escaping. Loud cheers came. As the dark light flashed by, the scenery before Yang Chen changed, and 1,000 thoughts flashed through his heart. How do I fight against the giant spirit god and even the entire heaven until there was a faint sound in my heart? Ding! Congratulations to the master for obtaining the strongest dad system in the heavens. Yang Chen's eyes lit up, with a thought, a transparent panel appeared in front of me. Name. Yang Chen, Realm. Ants, Bloodline. Acquired human race, Genius. None, Practice. None, Treasure. None. Seeing everything that appeared before his eyes, Yang Chen couldn't help but open his mouth and take a deep breath. System. Surprisingly, it is the existence of the system. At this moment, a flame ignited in Yang Chen's heart. Even if he was just a mortal, he may not have the ability to resist the heavenly court. As the system appears, its functions also surfaced in Yang Chen's mind like the palm of his hand. As the strongest dad, as long as you cultivate your 7 children well, you can get rebates. There is also something called father's love value that can be exchanged for rewards in the system store. Open the system store. Yang Chen's mind twitched, the transparent panel in front of him instantly changed, and looking around, Yang Chen couldn't help but swallow his saliva. 9 transformations golden pill. 99.99 father's love value, random innate spirit treasure. 15,000 father's love points, Hihua ZFA. 50,000 father's love value, chaos Qingluan seed. 999999 father's love value. Various things are dazzling, almost covering everything in the heavenly world, and even things like chaos Qingluan can be exchanged. How could I have any interest in other treasures of the heavens, even though the flood and wilderness are beyond the heavens? Yang Chen sighed slightly in his heart. At this moment, the sound of the system suddenly sounded. Report to the master that the goods from various heavens and worlds have undergone varying degrees of growth, and are of good quality and affordable price. Upon hearing the system's words, Yang Chen was momentarily stunned. Good guy, this system was a salesperson in its previous life. Without much time to think, Yang Chen quickly looked around. How many of his children are there now? I am still in my infancy, tightly embraced by myself. Daddy! Daddy! Several sweet shouts came from beside me. Yang Chen couldn't help but breathe a sigh in his heart. He turned his head and saw that it was not just a few thoughtful cotton jackets from his own family. It's okay, it's okay. Yang Chen quickly spoke up. But what about his second son Yang Jian? Dad, you're crushing me. Yang Jian spoke in a daze. At the same time, the sound of the system came. Ding. Father is kind and filial, father's love value is 0.1 inch. Yang Chen slightly supported his forehead. Can this fatherly love value still have negative consequences? However, at this moment, Yang Chen also roughly understood how this fatherly love value was obtained. Choner, don't worry about us being so worried about me. Yang Chen stood up and hugged his intimate little cotton jacket. Ding. Detected that the owner is caring about their daughter, fatherly love value +10, +10, the value of this fatherly love is slowly increasing. Yang Chen couldn't help feeling a little excited in his heart. Turning his head to look at Xiaoya and others, his eyes lit up and he said, "Come on, let daddy hug you." However, this time, the system did not offer any rewards. It seems that only genuine love from the heart can earn a father's love value. Yang Chen nodded slightly. At this moment, a system prompt also came to his mind. Congratulations to the master for obtaining fatherly love for the first time, reward beginner gift pack. Yang Chen's eyes lit up. Now I'm worried about how to take a few children with me. Open the beginner gift pack. Ding. The master has unlocked the talent viewing system. You can fully view the talents of descendants' bloodline. With a series of system prompts, Yang Chen also felt a little excited and looked directly at his second son. Second brother. Yang Jian, realm. Ants, bloodline. Mixed human and divine blood, resuscitating, genius. Natural divine power, purple sky eye, practice. None, treasure. None. Seeing this series, Yang Chen widened his eyes directly. Lying trough, is my second son so bad? However, Yang Jian could become a saint in his physical body in the future, and Yang Chen was somewhat prepared in his heart. What about your own thoughtful little cotton jacket? Then, Yang Chen quickly looked at Chana, Mochou, and Tianyi's situation. Old 4. Yang Mochou, realm. Ants, bloodline. Mixed human and divine blood, resuscitating, genius. Flawless heart, flawless body, Yang Chen was somewhat surprised. However, the sound of the system is very thoughtful. Impeccable heart. Under the quasi-holy realm, practice is smooth and unobstructed. Impeccable body. The power of divine powers and spells doubles. Lying trough. Yang Chen widened his eyes. I thought my second son was already invincible, but to my surprise, the fourth son is also so brave. Old 6. Yang Xiaoya, realm. Ants, bloodline. Mixed human and divine blood, resuscitating, genius. People with heavenly fortune, with the protection of fate, everything goes smoothly. Yang Chen's eyes were filled with joy. How could he not be happy that his own child has such talent? Chapter 4. Genius and Divine Power. Natural Divine Power, Purple Sky Eye. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Then he turned his gaze to the unrepentant in his arms, as the transparent panel emerged. Yang Chen's eyes widened too. This. Old 7. Yang Bu regret, realm. Ants, bloodline. Mixed human and divine blood, resuscitating, genius. None. Seeing these, Yang Chen didn't have much disappointment. What dissatisfaction does he have with his previous few children who had extraordinary talents and exceptional skills? It seems that not regretting is more like his father. Thinking of this in my heart, Yang Chen looked into the eyes of his seventh son, and there was also an extra favor. Detected that the owner is caring about their daughter, fatherly love value +10, however, the top priority is to first figure out where we are now. Looking around, the surroundings are simply wilderness mountains. In this situation, let alone whether there are people or not, we can only pray that there are no such fierce wild beasts in the wilderness. Dad, I'm hungry. Yang Xiaoya entrusted Chu Baba to speak. I still feel pity for the look with 2 small fried dough twists. Be careful, there's Dad around. Yang Chenjing was about to speak. In an instant, a few fruits fell from the sky, shining brightly on top of them, looking extremely extraordinary. Everyone looked up into the sky. At this moment, 2 huge figures were clashing on the sky, which could be described as blocking the sky and the sun. With Yang Chen's cultivation, although the cultivation of these two creatures cannot be seen, their terror can still be intuitively felt. Black Sha. You're the only Xianxian who wants to obtain this wash marrow yuan fruit. Then let's have a fight. With two loud drinks, the confrontation above the sky became increasingly fierce, with rainbow light splashing down thousands of feet and the sky clearing completely. Yang Chen and others are also very far away. If it weren't for that, the aftermath of such a confrontation would be enough to destroy both their form and spirit. After an unknown distance of tens of thousands of zhang, the clash of the sky made the ground tremble. These two living beings flew by in the blink of an eye. At this moment, Yang Chen also knew what these few fruits on the ground were. Surprisingly, it's the wash marrow fruit. Wash marrow yuangua. Eliminate dark wounds and wash the flesh's essence. This. Yang Chen widened his eyes. Good guy, there's no luck left. Looking down, there are not many, and exactly 7 washing yuan fruits, 1 for each person. Looking at my sixth son, Xiaoya, you are my god. Yang Chen couldn't help but sigh. This wash marrow yuan fruit is extremely precious even to Xianxian, but it is precisely this opportunity that falls in front of them. My sixth son is truly a lucky person. System, can ordinary people also eat this wash marrow fruit? Sure. After receiving confirmation from the system, Yang Chen waved his hand and said, come on, listen to Dad and eat this fruit. At this moment, the unrepentant in her arms suddenly burst into tears. Seeing the regret in his arms, Yang Chen awkwardly smiled, forgetting that he had just been born. Fortunately, he is of mixed race between humans and gods. If it were ordinary children of the human race, this bumpy journey would probably have been more ominous. But now my own wife is being suppressed by the heavenly court, I'd better improve my cultivation first, and then catch a leopard to feed Buhui's beast milk. Stains and stains, this is the only treatment that the Emperor of Wilderness has. Yang Chen directly swallowed the wash marrow element fruit, and in an instant, a dazzling light burst out from his body. The glow lingers around my body, the spiritual energy of the surrounding heaven and earth was unexpectedly drawn into it, and at this moment, Yang Chen could already feel the existence of the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. As my body trembled, successfully embarked on the path of cultivation. However, for a long time, Yang Chen slowly exhaled a mouthful of turbid air, with an uncontrollable expression of joy on his face. At this point, he was already in the realm of refining the void and transforming the spirit. And there are even greater gains. My current self is already the most top-notch Tao, only slightly inferior to the innate human race. In this way, there is hope of becoming an immortal. Looking at his own children, Yang Chen's eyes flashed with a strange color. The second Yang Jian's body was shrouded in a mysterious light. On top of his forehead, there was a vertical pupil slowly opening, and with just the slightest opening, a divine light shot straight into the sky. Duan is incredibly supernatural. Second brother. Yang Jian, realm. Refining God returns to void. Bloodline. Mixed human and divine blood, genius. Natural divine power, purple sky eye. Yang Chen finally understood. At that time, my mother took the initiative to seal the bloodline of the children in order to prevent them from being different from ordinary people. Now this wash marrow fruit, I can't help but wash away the blood and essence, and also wash away the seal laid by my own mother. And other thoughtful cotton jackets also shone brightly one by one. This scene really brings some comfort to his father. My son Yang Jian has the ability to become a quasi-saint. Yang Chen also remembered his newbie gift package, but there was a talent enhancement card. Now that eldest Yang Jiao is not here, Yang Chen looked at Yang Jian with a hint of smile in his eyes. Use talent enhancement cards on the second player. Yang Chen secretly said in his heart. Dad, my forehead hurts so much. Yang Jian said in pain, feel with your heart. If your heart is as clear as ice, return to your roots and return to life. Yang Chen panicked and said a few words in a state of anxiety. After all, even if our own children have awakened their innate abilities, it's not a big deal. Meanwhile, under this anxiety, Yang Chen kept silently reciting the Taoist scriptures that his father taught him every day. Tao can be said, very Tao. In just an instant, the golden stripes on Yang Chen's forehead were intertwined and turned purple, exuding a majestic aura. This day, the eyes have obviously become even more terrifying. Chapter 5. Obtaining Rebates, the Eye of the Great Way. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Advanced Purple Sky Eye, Reincarnation Sky Eye, Get Rebate, the Pupil of the Road. Second Brother's cultivation breaks through the practice of refining the void and transforming the spirit, and his cultivation feedback. A series of system prompts echoed in Yang Chen's heart. Along with it, a terrifying force surged out of one's own body, and the sky instantly darkened. My goodness, return to the gods by refining the void. Yang Chen was a bit surprised. I didn't expect that this system would be so awesome, just the second breakthrough would be so beneficial. He couldn't help but look at the other girls, they were all his thoughtful little cotton jackets. At this moment, there's not enough time to think much. The sky is completely covered by black clouds, and thunderous lights wander through the rolling clouds and mist. The majestic sky falls from the sky. Yang Chen couldn't help but swallow his saliva. As Yang Jian awakened his innate abilities, the sky eye on the forehead, which was shrouded in purple energy, opened, and an illusory sky eye instantly appeared behind it. Just in an instant. Boom! A stunning thunderbolt fell directly. The whole world trembles. Yang Chen swallowed his saliva. What happened? At this moment, there's not enough time to think much. The sky is completely covered by black clouds, and thunderous lights wander through the rolling clouds and mist. The majestic sky falls from the sky. Yang Jian was the first to bear the brunt, being oppressed by this infinite heavenly power. Yang Chen also understood the meaning of the heavenly way. The eye of reincarnation cannot appear in the world. Not good. A thought flashed through Yang Chen's heart. No matter how powerful one's child's talent and supernatural powers may be, he is only a 9-year-old child now. However, before he could speak, Yang Jian's body burst into a divine light. Try the power of this reincarnation eye first. Faced with the immense power of heaven, Yang Jian's eyes flashed with a bright light. Faced with the celestial vision, there was not a trace of fear in his eyes, but rather a faint excitement. My father once said, to be a person is to fight against the heavens. Reincarnation eye. Yang Jian drank lightly. The magic on his body surged out, and behind him appeared a deep purple aura lingering in the sky eye. That day, thunder was still in its infancy. Yang Jian actually flew straight towards the sky, without any regard for the thunder robbery. Meanwhile, the thunderous light wandering through the thunderclouds paused slightly, and in an instant, it splashed out with thunderous waves. It's like being provoked by Yang Jian's actions. A mere mortal, how dare you defy Tianwei? Yuchuan Mountain, I saw a white-bearded Taoist with an anxious expression in his eyes, still practicing the formula in his hand. This person is exactly, the Jade Cauldron Immortal, one of the 12 golden immortals, is a Taoist priest. No, why hasn't Yang Jian come yet? The Jade Ding Immortal murmured and spoke. According to his previous deduction, Yang Jian should have already arrived at the boundary of his Yuchuan Mountain. And there is a vague crisis in my heart. It seems like the relationship between myself and Yang Jian is getting shallower and shallower. How could such a strange thing happen? As far as one's mind is concerned, the Jade Ding Immortal frowned. Pinching out the mysterious method in his hand, the lotus flowers bloomed beside him, and the auspicious glow slowly shone. Duan is an indescribable mystery. And his furrowed brow slowly relaxed. So it's in the East China Sea. A ray of light flashed in the eyes of the Jade Ding Immortal. Yang Jian is his destined disciple, and his talent is definitely top-notch. Therefore, accepting him as a disciple is a considerable opportunity. Upon learning that Yang Jian was in the East China Sea, the Jade Cauldron Immortal no longer hesitated and set up an auspicious cloud to fly towards the East China Sea. Good disciple, I'm here. 33 days outside the sky, Taiwa Tianhua Imperial Palace. I saw a woman with a human body and a snake tail calmly looking at a pool of water in the Hua Palace. This woman is the goddess Hua, who created the human race, and the pool in front of it, I saw a mysterious aura circulating, and among them was a white lotus slowly blooming. Baoyan flowers are blooming, Qingluan, go and fetch Yang Chen. A cold voice sounded. I saw a blue figure above the sky of Taiwa, emitting a phoenix crow and then landing next to the Saint Hua. With a flash of spiritual light, she transformed into a green-clad maid, her appearance beyond belief. Yes, Empress. Qingluan bowed respectfully, her voice as pleasant as that of a lark. After speaking, Qingluan transformed into his true form and headed towards the human world. That day in the courtroom, a magnificent hall. One of the majestic figures slowly opened their eyes, and among them was a glow that intertwined the three realms. His gaze shifted directly from 33 days away to the East China Sea. What a scoundrel. The heavenly emperor slowly opened his mouth and scolded. He naturally knew that the person suppressed by Tianwei was the son of his sister Yaoji. Looking at that small island, amidst the boundless power and the raging waves, it was like a deviated boat. I'm afraid it won't be long before it's destroyed. Exactly right. 10,000 years of confinement is enough. How can ordinary people have an affair with immortals? The land of the East China Sea, at this moment, the sky has been covered by a massive thunder disaster. Countless creatures were shocked. What exactly did it do to cause such a terrifying thunder disaster? Is this being punished by heaven? The Jade Tripod Immortal, who came driving with auspicious clouds, was also shocked. Who exactly is it? At this moment, young Jian had no time to attend to many things. After flying into the sky, this boundless sea of thunder instantly condensed into a single strand, only to see the entanglement of thunderbolts turning into a thunder dragon. Just a roar, just like a thunderous roar. Faced with such a scene, young Jian's eyes became even brighter. Step on the earth, earthquake the universe, and the sky allows me to roam freely. Speaking, the thunderous sea suddenly exploded, as if it had been terrifying for a few more minutes. Obviously, it is a response to Yang Jian's disrespect towards the heavens. Seeing this scene, Yang Chen almost vomited blood. Although I may say 2 sentences in a row when I have nothing to do, is this the right time to say it? Chapter 6. Dad, there stands a bull's nose over there. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Second brother is so amazing. Second brother is mighty. Wow. I also want to be like second brother. For a while, Yang Chen was surrounded by the cheers of little dolls. Especially Yang Chen and Xiaoya, seeing such a terrifying scene in the sky, their eyes were about to light up seeing the behavior of these bear children. Yang Chen slightly supported his forehead. This is the way of heaven. Are you really good like this? Although Yang Chen was so roast in his heart, he was not afraid to see his little padded jacket, but he was somewhat inexplicably pleased. Boom! That day, thunder thundered above the sky. Seemingly angered by the language of these children, Lei Hai became terrifying a few more points. Seeing this scene, Yang Chen's originally relaxed eyebrows furrowed again. Lying trough. This way of life is too petty. At this moment, he really wants to chat with Tian Dao for a few words. 2 more golden sentences from the bear child. He's just a child. If the heavenly way is spiritual, hearing this sentence may also cause blood pressure to soar. Faced with this thunderous sky, young Jian was not afraid. Behind me, the reincarnation of the heavenly eye burst out with a divine light of 10,000 zhang, and I saw the heavens changing from within that illusory bundle of pupils. Unlimited radiance emanates, heading straight towards the Thunder Sea Divine Dragon. Meanwhile, a figure had already arrived at the small island, holding hands to brush the dust, and the Taoist with white hair and childlike appearance stepped into it. My disciple should be here. Yuding looked at an island in front of him. Despite being hundreds of thousands of zhang in size, it is undoubtedly a small island facing the vast and boundless East China Sea. Just as he was about to set foot on the island, he also heard Yang Chen's bold words. Who dares to say that? Yuding's face froze, and his heart was also shocked. The heavenly way is above. For those ordinary people, recklessness is not a problem, but for someone like him, how can it be so? Especially this person has already attracted the attention of the heavenly Tao, seeking death. Who is this person? The Jade Immortal looked towards the sky. Seeing the figure wandering in the sea of thunder, immeasurable divine light protected it, and a myriad of radiances spewed out. Wherever it has passed, both the cloud and the thunder were melting in an instant. What an amazing miracle! A hint of surprise flashed in the eyes of Yuding Immortal. He could naturally see the brilliance of this divine power, and who was the disciple who could do so. I hope my disciple is okay. The Jade Immortal couldn't help but frown. According to his own deduction, Jian was in front, and below the thunderous sky, there was a small island like a boat. At this point, a sky full of strange phenomena. Under Yang Jian's reincarnation eye, the spring snow melted away, and it was truly supernatural. The stormy waves slowly returned to a calm state, the small island that was already shaking gradually settled down. It seems that my child is fine. Yang Chen breathed a slow sigh of relief. Seeing Yang Jian's divine power, as an old father, it is full of satisfaction. I wish I could shout up to the sky. My son Yang Jian has the talent of a war god. Beside him, the four little dolls with carved jade bracelets were stunned, their dark eyes filled with radiance. I want to do the same as my brother. Me too. And me. And me. A group of little dolls obviously idolized their second brother Yang Jian and aspired to learn from him. Seeing the excited look on Yang Chan's small cotton-padded jackets one by one, Yang Chen couldn't help but feel black lines all over his head. Be well behaved, this is not conducive to learning. At this moment, a Taoist with a crane-haired and childlike appearance is slowly approaching. But Yang Chen was completely unaware. Regarding this, Yuding Immortal had a calm expression on his face. In his eyes, Yang Chen was just an ordinary person. If you don't want him to see it, standing in front of him casually, Yang Chen couldn't possibly find himself. However, Yuding didn't notice that the few little dolls next to Yang Chen were looking at Yuding with a curious expression on their faces. But at this moment, the attention of the Jade Immortal is focused on the changes in the celestial anomalies. What mysteries does that divine power contain, yet it can soothe the anger of the heavenly way? Even he has never heard of it. When he saw the figure of the person clearly, Yuding widened his eyes. This. Yang Jian. Such talent is truly rare. Yuding Immortal's eyes flashed with joy. If he could take Yang Jian as his disciple, it would be unimaginable for him to benefit. Then he looked at Yang Chen again and couldn't help but take a look. It doesn't matter if you don't look. At first glance, the Jade Immortal opened his mouth wide. You know, the most important thing for self-expression is to have the ability to follow the footsteps, but even if we look back at the ancient times, the qualifications of these little dolls are rare. Now, with Yang Jian, there are as many as 6 people. Yuding endured the shock in his heart and looked at Yang Chen. He wants to see what this ordinary person can do. At this moment, Yang Chen's unrepentant Wow burst into tears in his arms. Are you hungry? Yang Chen frowned and looked at him without regret. At this moment, I suddenly stopped crying and looked at him with a faint contempt in his eyes. It's like saying, Dad, you're hopeless. This. Yang Chen scratched his head, this bare child. My family doesn't regret being like his father the most, and I will definitely be the most obedient one in the future. I can't help but feel dizzy. Just when he still had some doubts. Young Xiaoya, the sixth in her family, suddenly spoke up and shouted. Dad, look! There's a bull's nose standing over there. Chapter 7. Shocked Jade Ding Immortal and Unbelieving Qingluan. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. The little girl spoke, and the other children nodded and chattered. Yes, that old Taoist with a bull nose is staring at us with integrity, and at first glance, he doesn't have any good thoughts. Although Yang Chen was young, she immediately protected her sisters behind her and watched the jade tripod with caution. Of course, Yang Chen was also pulled and protected by her stroke behind him. Hey, this child can't trust her father so much. Yang Chen sighed helplessly, but looking at Yang Chan's young adult appearance, his heart was also satisfied. Old San is also sensible now. He knows how to protect his younger sisters at a young age. But who would it be, such as the cow-nosed Taoist? As Yang Chen watched several of his own small cotton-padded jackets carved with powder and jade all look in the same direction, he couldn't help but frown and look. What kind of thing? I was actually discovered by a few ordinary little dolls. Yuding stood in the void, messy in the wind, a little unable to accept this fact. At least I am also a disciple personally passed down by the sage, one of the 12 golden immortals who preach, with mysterious Taoist techniques and profound cultivation. How many little dolls can I be discovered? Just kidding, he, the Jade Ding Immortal, can take the act of accepting disciples as a guarantee. If this were true, he would jump down from here on the spot, even if he died outside, he would never accept a disciple. However, the small dolls carved in powder and jade looked straight at him, which really made Yuding feel a bit numb. I can't, I really got caught. Should, perhaps, maybe, not. Yuding had no clue in his heart. He had thought that he was a Tai golden immortal, but how could he be discovered by a few ordinary little dolls? But those little dolls looked at him straightforwardly, and the meaning behind the words was clearly that he had already discovered himself. This shouldn't be. Yuding was confused and full of disbelief. Qingluan covered her lips and chuckled lightly. At least this jade cauldron immortal was also passed down by a saint himself. As a Tai, it was discovered by several young mortal dolls who had not yet grown up. It's really ridiculous. Now, he's losing a lot of face. However, it is strange to say that a few ordinary little dolls were able to discover a hidden Tai golden immortal. Is there any secret left for these little dolls? She was curious and her phoenix eyes fell on the children of the Yang family, carefully scrutinizing them. But she didn't notice that the little baby in Yang Chen's arms, who was swaddled in swaddling clothes, didn't regret it. At this moment, he was staring straight at her with a pair of dark eyes. Qingluan's gaze finally fell on Yang Jian, and it was this child who triggered the thunder calamity and attracted a multitude of strange phenomena. Moreover, it seems that the destined disciple of Yuding is this child. She wanted to see what was unique about this young man, who could make the heavenly Tao descend such a terrifying thunder calamity. She crossed her 5 fingers and began to deduce with the immense power of the quasi-saint. However, in just a moment, she looked at Yang Jian with a shocked expression on her face. I can't figure it out. Not only that, but to deduce a mortal little doll, it's as if her head is about to explode. You should know that she is now a quasi-saint, and there are very few things that cannot be calculated under her deductive ability. How could Yang Jian be so supernatural? Forget it, let's change it. Qingluan's gaze fell on the third person Yang Chen again, and after a moment, she felt a splitting headache and gave up decisively again. She changed one after another until she deduced all 6 children of the Yang family. Qingluan's face completely changed, as if she had seen a ghost, and her complexion became even paler. She exhausted her mental and computational abilities to the point where she couldn't even deduce a single child. You should know, she is a grand quasi-saint who can't deduce how many ordinary little dolls. Are you joking? Not to mention these little dolls, even if she were to deduce their mother Yaoji, she could figure it out. How scary these children are. Taking a short rest, Qingluan calmed down a lot. She no longer believes in this evil today, and she really can't calculate anything. Her gaze turned to Yang Chen. These little dolls carry the bloodline of the heavenly gods and cannot be calculated. This ordinary mortal, pure postnatal human race, cannot still be calculated at all. She pinched her fingers again to deduce. However, in an instant, her fingers were bounced away by an inexplicable force, making it difficult to deduce. Not only that, her face was as pale as paper, and she even spat out a drop of blood essence. That drop of golden blood falls into the heavens, erasing countless worlds. What the hell? Inferring an ordinary person, who actually backfired and seriously injured his own quasi-holy lord. Qingluan looked up and looked at Yang Chen incredulously. Is this really an ordinary person? When did the threshold for mortals become so high? At the same time, Yuding also walked out of the void with a gentle smile on her face. He finally understood that Yang Jian's incredible talent must be accepted as a disciple, and he must not miss it. Watching the jade tripod emerge from the void, Yang Chen also realized that this was probably the old Taoist with a bull nose that the girls were talking about. What's the origin of this person? He seems to have some supernatural powers on him. However, compared to confusion, he was more excited in his heart. I've been in this place where birds don't poop for so long, so I've seen a living person. Chapter 8. The Emergence of Qingluan and the Urgent Jade Cauldron in Heart. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Yang Chen was excited in his heart and walked up to him, asking, I dare to ask the old man, what is this place? Yuding did not answer Yang Chen's question, and then looked at several children of the Yang family over and over again. Hey, okay, that's really great. Yuding was filled with joy, noticing no trace of beauty that her gaze at the moment was like that of a fool. These children are really talented one by one. Yuding originally came to recruit Yang Jian as his disciple, but now seeing the extraordinary talent of the other children in the Yang family, he has developed a love for talent. Anyway, collecting one is also collecting, and collecting a group is also collecting. These dolls have such amazing talents. If they were thrown into the mortal world, wouldn't it be a waste? Why not take it all? His jade tripod lineage is full of talents. Good disciples, here comes the teacher. Yuding finally regained his ethereal demeanor and looked at Yang Chen with a proud smile, saying, this is the East China Sea. East China Sea. Madam, did you directly send yourself to the East China Sea? No wonder there are few people here. If there are people in the depths of the sea, it's just a ghost. I am the Jade Ding Immortal, one of the 12 golden immortals and a disciple personally passed down from the seat of the holy sage of the primordial enlightenment. Lying trough. Surprisingly, it's a jade tripod. Yang Chen looked in shock at the ox-nosed old Taoist airing a wide avenue robe and with white hair and youthful appearance in front of him. Yuding Immortal, that is a disciple of the sage, a great power renowned in the vast world. I didn't expect to personally descend on this island where birds don't poop. By the way, it must be for the second son. Looking at the shocked expression on Yang Chen's face, Yuding smiled confidently. Ordinary people are ordinary people, but they are so shocked and they hear the names of Zhanjiao and the 12 golden immortals. Now it's stable. However, at this moment, the Jade Ding Immortal did not notice how an ordinary person would know about their existence. These little dolls are destined for me. I want to take them as disciples and bring them back to Yuchuan Mountain for recuperation. I don't know what you think. The Jade Ding Immortal said calmly. After all, Yang Chen is their father. If Yuding wants to take the Yang family doll as his disciple, he still needs to seek Yang Chen's opinion. What? Yang Chen was confused. How could this be different from the script? Isn't Yuding here to collect the second son? How did you take a liking to yourself as a big family? Lying trough. This won't work. This is absolutely unacceptable. In a state of urgency, Yang Chen couldn't agree and spoke excitedly, "You dream." "What?" Yuding's indifferent and extraordinary immortal posture gradually froze, and his face also collapsed. What did he hear? How dare a mere mortal scold oneself for dreaming? In an instant, Yuding's eyes were filled with evil energy, and he looked at Yang Chen with unfriendly eyes. Yang Chen also suddenly reflected and immediately covered his mouth. I was extremely shocked in my heart. Lying trough. What did I say? Yuding is a divine being, and I am so disrespectful to him. This is not the end of my life. In an instant, Yang Chen's scalp tingled and he sweated profusely. However, thinking of the Deluo experience card, he still tried his best to calm himself down and his heart stabilized a bit. Deluo Jinxian, at this point in time, it should be okay, right? If it really doesn't work, just use the Deluo experience card to compete with Yuding, this old Taoist with a strong nose. Don't panic, just forcefully stabilize your hand before speaking. However, at this moment, the third person Yang Chen spoke up. Dad said Nyo Nose is not a good person, are you a bad person? Lao Mochou looked at Yuding with an innocent expression on his face, Grandpa Bullnose, are you a bad person? Are you going to hurt us? Where is this all about? Yuding sighed helplessly, feeling the urge to vomit blood in her heart. You can't beat up their father in front of them, can you accept them? Also, what kind of thing does this guy teach? The cute little girls carved in powder and jade have all been taught like this by him. Yuding gave Yang Chen a fierce glare, and Yang Chen reluctantly touched his nose. I have no melon in the rain. Yuding's face was embarrassed and he didn't know what to say. After all, he is a disciple whom he values, so he naturally needs to be more friendly. When he just bent down, brewed emotions, and was ready to speak up. At this moment, Yang Chen's unrepentant heart pointed to an empty void and burst into tears. This immediately caught everyone's attention. The little girl's eyes lit up and she exclaimed happily, "Wow! Dad, there are only beautiful birds there." What? Yang Chen immediately looked towards the direction pointed by Buhui. Yuding also turned around in confusion and looked around. Surprisingly, there was someone else here. Why didn't he perceive it? And Qingluan, who was hiding in the void, also changed his expression. Unexpectedly, this little doll could also discover herself. I thought it was because Yuding didn't have enough hidden skills to be discovered by these little dolls, but now it seems like that's not the case. Since it was discovered, there is no point in hiding anymore. So she slowly stepped out of the void. A woman dressed in green clothes, with a beautiful appearance but a heroic and confident aura, slowly walked over. Oh, good guy. There really is someone. Why is it so lively today? Yang Chen's heart was filled with shock. After Tai Yi saw the figure clearly, his face changed. It's actually her. This is not the mount of the sage Nuwa, Qingluan is a quasi-saint. Why did she appear in this place where birds don't poop? Shouldn't you be here to compete for disciples with yourself? A sense of urgency suddenly rose in Yuding's heart. Chapter 9. Saint Experience card arrived, Hongjun arrived. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Qingluan's face was slightly displeased, and she shook her head and said, You girl, I am Qingluan of the Phoenix clan. I am a pure-blooded phoenix, not a little bird. The Phoenix clan was one of the three great hegemons in ancient times. In the past, they dominated the Hongjun and even surpassed the Lich and Demon tribes. As a member of the Feng tribe, I naturally take pride in my own bloodline. Xiaoya described her as a bird, which naturally made her a little unhappy. Isn't this belittling her noble bloodline? However, what was more in her heart was surprise. This little doll is not only able to discover itself, but also to see its true self. What a natural talent it is. You should know that these little dolls are still ordinary people, so they can see through their quasi-holy disguise and identify their true selves. Such talent, not to mention now, may be hard to find even in the vast expanse of time. Good guy. Phoenix. He was described by his own little cotton jacket as a bird. One doozy, is this a small cotton jacket or a leaky and black-hearted torn cotton jacket? Yang Chen had no choice but to help these bear kids from his own family. 2 words offended the 2 experts, this child cannot be taken anymore. Fortunately, Qingluan did not argue with them. She came at the will of the sage Nuwa, and naturally did not waste too much effort on those things that were not there. She approached and spoke, I am the saint of Nuwa, riding on Qingluan. Upon the order of Nuwa, I have taken Yang Chen into the Hua Imperial Palace to practice. Yuding breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, the sage Nuwa only wanted a Yang Chen. I can also catch all the other dolls myself. He smiled and said, since that's the case, please ask Senior Qingluan to take Yang Jian away. I am willing to accept other dolls as disciples. Good guy. 2 great experts, are you just so blatantly trying to grab a baby in the red fruit field? Yuding looked at Yang Chen with a smile on his face. Although he had a smile on his face, Yang Chen always felt as if he was saying that if you don't hand over the child to me, let me see how I can kill you. On the other side, Qingluan looked at Yang Chen with a pair of beautiful eyes, indifferent. Although there was no apparent threat, Yang Chen always felt a chill in his neck. If I don't agree, I'm afraid I won't be able to keep such a good neck. Being watched by 2 powerful figures, Yang Chen was under immense pressure. Thank you for your invitation. In the midst of adversity, you are capable of snatching children and waiting online. Urgent. Just when Yang Chen was at a loss, the cold sound of the system suddenly sounded. Detected that the owner is in danger, the Deluo experience card will automatically upgrade. Ding, congratulations to the master for obtaining the Saint experience card. Saint experience card. At this moment, the cold voice of the system sounded so amiable to Yang Chen, like a heavenly melody. The system is still awesome. System, you are my god. Sage experience card, oh. Yang Chen's gaze towards Yuding and Qingluan instantly changed. You want to grab my baby, right? Come tell me, what are you barking from a dog, what are you barking from a dog? After obtaining the Sage experience card, Yang Chen's waist suddenly stiffened. Subsequently, there was a decisive refusal. Thank you both for your kindness, but I don't have any intention of letting the children leave. Please let the 2 immortals leave. Joking, there is a system in place, and there is a reward given to oneself by the system father. Even if saints come, he will not agree to let them take their own children away. Upon hearing Yang Chen's decisive refusal, Yuding Immortal's face was displeased, and Qingluan looked at Yang Chen with a frosty expression. But Yang Chen remained calm and spoke the most domineering words in the most plain tone. Do you know that it was the sage Nuwa who sent me to collect my disciples? Yang Chen nodded and said, so what? My children are still young, so it's absolutely unacceptable to let them leave me at such an age and go to visit my teacher. Can't even the sage Nuwa suppress him? Qingluan's eyes suddenly flickered with a dangerous light. Yuding was even more shocked in his heart. This mortal, does he know what he's talking about? That's the decree of the Nuwa sage, he dares to refuse it. Isn't this seeking death? Startled, Yuding rubbed his eyes hard and stared at Yang Chen for a while before finally realizing that the person in front of him was not an ancient monster, let alone a chaotic god or demon. He was just an ordinary human race, just a mortal. When would an ordinary person dare to be so crazy? Is he getting old? Yuding looked at Yang Chen incredulously, wanting to break his head and unable to understand what kind of confidence this mortal had in refusing the decree of the Nuwa sage. The children naturally didn't understand the tense atmosphere between Yang Chen and the 3 of them. At this moment, the little dolls carved in powder and jade curiously gathered around Qingluan, unable to help but marvel. Wow, it's really beautiful. What Dad said about the divine bird is actually true. Surprisingly, there really is a phoenix, there really is the Qingluan divine bird. The little girl blinked her glowing big eyes and looked at Yang Chen with admiration. Daddy is really amazing. Big sister, how beautiful you are. Upon hearing the praises of the little dolls, Qingluan's mood improved a lot and she nodded proudly. She is a pure phoenix bloodline, naturally extraordinary. However, she felt somewhat strange in her heart. These things are not a secret for the Hongjun Qi refining master, but how did he, as an ordinary person, know? Chapter 10. Dad, I'm going to Taiwa Heaven to catch Phoenix. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Immortal knows quite a bit. When it came to the previous deduction of Yang Chen, it turned out that he had been seriously injured and vomited blood by the backlash, and Qingluan's beautiful eyes couldn't help but squint. Is there any unknown secret hidden by this mortal? While she was pondering, she suddenly felt someone holding onto her thigh. Qingluan was suddenly startled and was about to kick the person on her thigh away, but she saw clearly that it was actually Yang Chen. Yang Chen was extremely excited, holding on to Qingluan's thighs, and a pair of watery big eyes looked harmless at Qingluan. Big sister, you look good. Qingluan had a gentle smile on her face and asked, Yang Chen, do you like big sister? Yang Chen nodded frantically and said, I like it, of course I do. Yang Chen is numb, why didn't you see that you are still a senior beauty control, third brother? Just because they look good, they sell themselves directly. Qingluan smiled, with a stunning expression on her face. She looked at Yang Chen and said, since that's the case, why not let Yang Chen follow me back to the Hua Palace to pay respects to the Saint En Hua? After all, Empress En Hua values Yang Chen, and if she could follow the sage to learn and practice, it would be a great opportunity for her. Big sister, can I see you every day when I go to the Hua Palace? Qingluan smiled gently and touched Yang Chen's small head. Of course, that's fine, she said so. Yang Chen suddenly nodded and looked pitifully at Yang Chen. Dad, I want to go. Yang Chen's scalp was tingling and his face was full of helplessness. Dad is about to fight to the death, why did his daughter surrender first? Qingluan looked at Yang Chen and his family with a faint smile. She finally understood that this was the way to go. She couldn't help but feel a surge of confidence. Madam, don't worry, Qingluan will definitely complete the task you assigned me. Big brother has always said he wants to ride a phoenix, I want to catch many phoenixes. Yang Chen couldn't help but speak coldly. A cold sweat instantly flowed down Yang Chen's forehead. Lying trough. You are not my daughter, you are my ancestor. Ancestor, how could you say that? Isn't this premature death? This person in front of me is a pure-blood phoenix. Originally, Yang Chen wanted to go to the Hua Palace not only because Qingluan was beautiful. She was thinking that there were many phoenixes in the Hua Palace, and she wanted to catch many phoenixes to ride for her elder brother, as well as for her younger brothers and sisters. Yang Chen counted with her fingers, yes, she wants to catch many phoenixes, one for each family member. Yang Chen was completely numb. Who would have thought that his daughter was waiting here to kill him? When the children were young, Yang Chen told many stories of supernatural and supernatural wonders in order to coax them to sleep. At that time, the boss said he wanted to ride a phoenix, and whenever he thought about it, he just casually talked about it as a child. Who knew that the third one remembered and even said it in front of the phoenix? You said this was unlucky. When he was telling stories, he didn't expect this to be a desolate world. He secretly glanced at Qingluan and saw the smile on her stunning face gradually stiffen. Qingluan's smile stiffened, as if her whole body had petrified, standing in place, watching Yang Chen. Yuding chuckled inwardly, shook his head, and said in his heart that he really didn't know whether to live or die. You can speak such nonsense. Senior Qingluan is a pure phoenix bloodline, and upon hearing this, he couldn't help but feel extremely angry. But it's also good. Once this guy is beaten to half-death, no one will stop him from accepting his apprenticeship. Senior Qingluan, come on. The Jade tripod is slightly green in the heart, waving flags and cheering vigorously. Send it. Yang Chen's scalp tingled, and he forced himself to stand still, feeling extremely sad and angry. Let the bear child get tricked again. However, human joys and sorrows are not interconnected. When Yang Chen's heart was furry, the leaking cotton jackets were playing with great enthusiasm. Upon hearing Yang Chen's words, Mochou and a few others immediately screamed loudly. That's right, I'm going too. I'm also going to catch the phoenix for big brother. Old Wu Tian bounced and skipped unwillingly. I want it too. I want to catch the most beautiful phoenix for big brother. And me. Mochou and a few others were chattering and arguing happily. Yuding, who was originally quite happy, is now confused. Hey, what's going on? Why are we all going to the Hua Palace? You all went to the Hua Palace, who should I take as my disciple? Yang Chen closed his eyes helplessly. Finished, send it. Qingluan was angry and looked at Yang Chen with hatred. But seeing these cute little dolls made me laugh in anger again. Where is this all about? Even though they are exceptionally talented and extremely lovely children, they were all taught bad by this guy. I don't know what's in this mortal's mind. How could he teach such a lovely child to look like this? Humph. It's truly despicable. Qingluan looked fiercely at Yang Chen while clenching her slender fingers as if threatening him. Yang Chen felt a chill in his neck, as if someone had strangled the throat of fate. Sensing Qingluan's unfriendly gaze, he could only sigh helplessly. That's it, I'm taking the blame again. At this moment, not far away, a young figure flew back and landed in front of everyone. Seeing the unfamiliar Yuding and Qingluan, he quickly protected Yang Chen and his own sister.